Hey everybody, and welcome back to the show. Today we're taking a look at Avengers: Infinity War. Woo! Woo, baby, woo, baby. In fact, hold on one second.
Yep.
Wait.
Let's get the gauntlet going here.
That's right. Yeah.
High quality. Yep.
It's very nice. We'll deal with that later.
I think Thanos' hand is a little bigger.
He is a little bit bigger, but you know this is a high quality product I bought from the old Wally World. Retails about $19.95. Finest money never spent. Anyways, so welcome back to the show. We're gonna really go into some decent spoilers on this, so we're gonna get straight into it.
Yeah, let's do it. So Infinity War, man, that opening scene.
Opening scene.
They set the tone. And I think this is what we talked about with The Last Jedi, kind of where it faltered right in the beginning for us.
Yeah.
Setting the tone early.
Stupid humor that pretty much ruined the other movie, or Star Wars. This one comes out just straight out the gates. I mean, you see Thor's ship from Ragnarok is all beat to hell, and you see Thanos' massive ship on the side, and then they just kind of start zooming in, and you see Loki, Hulk, and then
Thor's already kind of wrapped up and captured.
Thanks to we find out that Thanos actually has some henchmen who are very, very powerful. One, I guess Appel said he's basically a sorcerer, which I get that, but he feels like a Magneto to me. I mean, it seemed like he was always using metal. Hey, whatever, no big deal. You don't have the right stone, so you create your own.
Throw in there.
But these guys were bad.
Yeah, that dude was pretty badass.
These are bad guys.
I don't remember his name. I don't remember any of their names.
No.
I don't know that they really said it in the movie.
We'll for all intents and purposes, he's Magneto.
Magneto.
Right?
We'll call him Magneto.
And then you had the one chick.
Yeah.
We'll call her the one chick.
and then the one dude that was
and then the dude. But the point being, these guys are really bad news. I mean, it's as if Thanos isn't a big enough problem. And so, just kind of scooting through this, there's some talk, some banter going back and forth, some mild humor, but very mild. Just mild enough to where it's like, okay, this is a serious deal, but, we're seeing what's going down. And then...
It was almost uncomfortable humor for them. Like, they knew that they were in a bad place, and it was like trying to just lighten the situation up.
Because it was between Loki and Thor, because the whole brother thing, right? Because he's always like, you're a terrible brother. And he goes, I know. Because Loki's, I guess, trying to give in, or he seems like he's giving in to Thanos. Tries to pull a maneuver, which, you know what? I was kind of glad, and here we go, Loki gets killed, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of glad to see him make a valiant effort to be...
For once
to be... Well, and I will... Maybe more than once, because he's had a couple times, but to really...
But legitimately.
Yeah, to try and save his brother, and maybe even Hulk too, or whatever, and he comes up with that dagger, and Thanos is like, really?
Yeah.
And they just... Well, I guess he choked him out, snapped his neck. Well, I think he snapped his neck, probably, but either way... Done.
I
mean, I guess it could be
pretty brutal too.
Yeah, I don't think Loki's going to be coming back from this.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Tom Hiddleston's probably done with the character.
And so when we saw Thanos, he already had the Power Stone.
Yeah, the Power Stone, which is the purple stone.
Purple stone.
Probably over here. Somewhere. Yeah, there it is, a purple one.
So that was obviously from Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was with the Nova Corps.
Nova Corps is protecting this city, and they were going to leave it there.
So obviously Thanos got it somehow.
He smashed that city. They're done. And
they kind of mentioned it in the movie, but
it was quick. And in fact, I missed it. And our buddy Mike said that he heard that Thanos made a comment something about how he destroyed the city to get her this and that. So, but it can be assumed that's pretty much what went down. And now he's after the blue, which is from...
Which Loki had, and Loki had stolen from Asgard in Ragnarok. And I think I kind of thought that happened, because in Ragnarok it showed him kind of walk past it. And you're thinking like, oh, he's going to swipe that for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So now he's got Power Stone and the Space Stone.
So the power, right? So this power thing literally makes him the most powerful being in the universe. And with Hulk there, you're thinking, okay, Hulk smash, why don't you go ahead and get it done? And so, of course, Bruce Banner, he hulks up, and Hulk just gets the ever-loving shit beat out of him, pretty much. And so badly that it either wounds his ego or just, like you said, just frightens the hell out of him, maybe, that he just
doesn't come back. So
he doesn't come back.
Throughout the movie, as Bruce is trying to get Hulk to come back, he keeps saying no.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to come out. So
which is awesome, because Bruce's like, what do you mean no?
No.
I mean, when do you not come out? You're the one always wanting to come out.
So, I don't know if it's just... He's never had that happen before, obviously.
So another cool thing, which I don't want to just slide over too much, but Idris Elba's character. The main guy.
Heimdall,
the guy with Guardians. So he uses some kind of special power, which clearly he had. He kind of manages to get it up one more time, which basically ports Hulk back to Earth. Kind of an easy way of getting him over there.
To get him out of there,
But all the same, he was able to save him. And then Thor, he's just all wrapped up. So Loki's dead, and then I think they stab Idris Elba's character, and then they pretty much leave the ship to explode. Which I gotta admit, when the ship exploded, I mean, of course I'm thinking, okay, Thor's a god, but I'm like, oh my God, is Thor dead?
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
And it just killed Loki. So.
Yeah, so I was like...
And I thought, too, I think there were some theories on Heimdall with the Soul Stone, because it's an orange stone, and his eyes were orange.
Oh,
so
maybe it was
there were some theories that maybe he had it, and that was what was making him powerful. Maybe it was even like his eye or something.
Interesting.
So whenever he died early on, I was like, okay, that's obviously not the case.
He's a cool character in general. I just, even though he's to the side and not a whole lot, but he's very valiant and very noble.
Very noble, yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame to see him go too. But as you're going to see throughout this movie, they're trimming the fat big time. They're just...
and that was the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, so. and that set tone, okay? Yes. So for all you want-to-be directors out there, I'm a want-to-be director, whatever, and I'm not great at it because, in fact, we had to go reshoot some scenes for our Dead Nightmare because it shows the beginning of them traveling again. I have this terrible thing of always making people travel. And we know they got to get there. Show some action. Set that tone for what the people are going to see later on so they'll want to stay and watch your movie. So, anyways. So Hulk basically gives up, gets ported off. Those guys get wiped out. Hulk, looks like Thor's pretty much done, and then we get back to Earth, right?
Yep.
And so as we keep going throughout it, we start moving in. So the Mind Stone with Vision. So Vision's off kind of doing this love romance thing with Scarlet Witch, right?
Yep. And I think they actually showed... I think it was Tony and Doctor Strange next, and they tried to get the Time Stone. Remember
That's true.
Magneto came down with his bruiser.
Yeah,
and they were trying to get it from Doctor Strange.
Because I think they were talking about Vision in between, but you're right. I don't think they actually showed the scene.
And so it ended up being the group, and the film gets kind of segmented into groups of heroes.
Yeah, at least 4 different groups.
I think it worked fairly well because I think it gave them each their time to kind of develop a bit, other than a couple that we'll talk about later. But so as they're kind of fighting with Iron Man, and then obviously Peter Parker hears what's going on from the bus and jumps out. You've got Iron Man, cool, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange kind of fighting off Magneto and the other henchmen, which they ended up all leaving in a spaceship and going into outer space, and they captured Doctor Strange. They kind of wrapped him up and pulled him up onto the ship.
So then
he was taking that time stone back to Thanos, thinking he had.
So Iron Man flew up there, and then so he has a new nanotechnology suit, which is kind of cool. So he doesn't have to have any pods around him. It just kind of just builds onto his body. Also probably very dangerous too. But either way, and then also he has a set for Spider-Man, which I guess he tells Spider-Man not to pursue. But of course, as a young kid and wanting to do good, and I think he kind of caters to Tony just because maybe a father figure in some ways.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool that relationship kept building, because that was obviously built in Spider-Man: Homecoming
and by the end
in Civil War. So. I think that was cool. They had to be together because they just play so well together.
So he follows up, and so before we get on to the Vision thing, just talking about that ship interaction, or whatever. So I got to give call outs to the writers and stuff. When so obviously this Magneto guy, he's super powerful. They're having a really hard time getting a grasp on him. And so Spider-Man's like, hey man, you ever see Alien?
Remember that really old movie, Alien?
And then I think Tony's like, what the hell are you talking about? And honestly, at the point I was like, yeah, I remember Alien too, but I was just not there yet. And then suddenly, they go into contact with him. The guy's like, you forget that I'm powerful. And he goes, yeah, we know. And then Tony blows a hole right behind him, and the dude just soars right out. Pretty fun.
Yeah. That was well done. And then the brief humor there too with what do you say? Hey, when Spider-Man introduced himself to Doctor Strange, he's like, hey. He goes, I'm Peter. And he goes, hi, I'm Doctor Strange. He's like, we're using our made-up names. I'm Spider-Man.
And then Doctor's like, So Strange is, it's really cool. And I heard a lot of other people talking about how he really gave credit to, or he did show the character some love from the comics. Yeah. I guess because he's just his seriousness is his mindset on the goals, just his mannerisms in general. So call out to, was it Cumberbatch?
Cumberbatch.
Batch.
And I think too, Doctor Strange wasn't my favorite movie, but I will say that having Tony Stark and Doctor Strange together are these two big egos. And you remember before Doctor Strange gained his powers, he was just a real egomaniac like Stark was too. So it was kind of cool to see them battle back.
It's cool going back and forth, which alludes to later on, which we're just going to call it a comment when he says, if it comes between me and the stone, or the stone and you all, it's going to be the stone all the way. Right. Which makes sense, too, by the way. I mean, you're talking about the Time Stone, which you can do anything with. I mean, in fact, I'd say that's almost the most powerful stone there could be, but the little green guy over there. So either way, very powerful set.
So, the green Time Stone now is safe for now as they fight off Magneto.
They keep showing it in that little medallion thing that he keeps carrying, right? That he can, and it's protected by some magic spell.
Right.
And he tells the dude that too, so you can't even get into it unless you do the spell. So I guess that's keeping Strange alive for the moment, as opposed to killing him.
Yeah.
But again, they have him on the way going to Thanos' world, which, oh god, what's his world called?
Titan.
Titan. There you go.
I think is that right?
I think it's Titan.
Okay.
Pretty sure. If not, hey, you can call us out later.
We're gonna call it Titan.
Titan. So let's talk about the Mind Stone and Vision.
Yeah. So Vision and Scarlet Witch on their little romantic rendezvous.
Which it was kind of cool showing Vision. It was kind of neat just seeing. Is it Paul Bettany?
Paul Bettany. Yeah. Actually showing him
and his human. So I guess he's been able to, contain his power, or I don't know, kind of morph.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just a morph or an ability he can do to kind of take on a form of a human.
It gave him some substance and feeling for this character, and so by the end, when things do go down, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, you feel more for this character, and I know I did when I was watching.
It creates conflict with Scarlet Witch too, because it's like if that conflict wasn't there, she'd just be like, okay, I'll destroy the stone now.
Yeah.
I don't have any. There's no reason I wouldn't. So now you have this kind of love.
And that like and love was already building too, even prior to this movie, so it's not like it just kind of came on. It's been building. So he tells her at one point, if it comes down to it, you're going to have to destroy this stone. And of course, she's totally torn and no different than Quinn? Yeah. And Quinn later on with Gamora, but we'll get to that in a second. Quill. Yeah. I always get that wrong. Just Quill? It's a weird name. But they do attack Vision and Scarlet Witch, and they give them a hell of a run for the money.
Yeah, it was other chick and other dude, right? They came down and tried to attack them, and then we get the big reveal.
Yeah, so they're in the subway, and they're in big trouble, right? And I think Vision's getting wounded several times.
He got stabbed with a scepter or something, a blade. And he said it's not allowing me to
heal.
To morph, or what did he call it? Where he kind of goes and invisible and can kind of.
Oh, I see. Well, his power, I guess, in general. But it's like
things.
their weapons are almost built to combat their abilities, which was very scary in general because that's a bad thing, right? So, but then out of the shadows, just behind the subway car going by, you see a shadow of Captain, and I gotta tell you, I was just like. Total emotion rush because I was just like, oh, I love him so much, and so he just kind of
the theater went crazy, clapping everywhere. And my wife, I've never heard her make this noise before. Whenever he stepped out, she goes, "Oh!" I was like, "Oh man, I've never heard you make that sound."
I've been feeling a lot of women's
she was like,
undergarments might have been.
He just looked really good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Captain America. So they run out there, him, Falcon. Black Widow, get out there and start putting their pain train down, but still a run for their money, but manage to hold them at bay, and then they have to retreat off and whatever. So they're after Vision Stone. Obviously, it's what's powering his body and who he is, and so it's, like I said, you got a lot of conflict there, and they're just trying to keep him alive. So it's like, protect the president, and he's the president.
Yeah,
so.
And even as Vision was telling Cap, he was like, hey, if it comes down to it, you need to destroy this stone. And he's like, we're not going to trade a life for life.
Yeah, that was a good... and see, that's what I love about Captain. He's just so, not only is he just a strong leader, but he keeps emotion. See, Tony, that's what I don't like about Tony. Tony's all, about the logical side of things, which that's not always the right way. Yeah. So you have to have some bit of emotion. So protect your friends and whatnot.
Yep.
So then we keep through the movie. You want to talk about Soul Stone a little bit?
Let's go into the reality stone.
Oh, the reality stone. Yeah. That's right, red.
Because this one kind of threw me for a loop. Because I don't know much about these stones. Other than the ones we've seen in the other movies, the reality stone hasn't really been shown, right?
Yeah. But it made sense. I mean, altering reality, right?
Altering reality. So it was the Collector had the stone, right? And
so the Guardians are on the way to get
it. That's where Thanos was. The Guardians were on the way to get the stone. And before that, let's talk a little bit about Thor and the Guardians. So that was kind of the entrance there with the Guardians coming in. And then Thor gets splattered on the spaceship as they're flying
like
through.
A bug. And they're like, ah! They're all rocking, everybody's screaming, and Thor's just like, what the hell?
And his eyes blinking.
So they get him in, and so Thor's alive, so yippee.
Yep.
That, the interactions between them as they're starting to learn, and he keeps calling Rocket, the furry
bunny.
The furry bunny's right. I mean, how could you not laugh at it just because, and then Rocket's like, WTF, man, I'm not a friggin' bunny. Drax and his goofy mannerisms and his awkward social...
Yeah. And Gamora's obviously smitten by Thor.
So she's digging him, and then Quill all of a sudden, he's like, as Thor's talking his deal, and he's like, I have to get to the thing and create that, and he goes, maybe we could join you. And then Rocket's like, did your voice just drop? He's like, no, my voice. And then that standoff between, and he goes, are you mocking me? He goes, are you mocking me? You know,
that's like, I think that's why they just done such a good job. That's the Guardians. Like, that's the tone of their movies.
Yeah.
And they did a good job of bringing that in initially. And obviously that there's a lot of turmoil going on, but like, that's who they are. So that's going to happen. And then once it gets more serious later on, their tone changes the movie.
And Thor too also, because we're back in Ragnarok too, and his kind of, you know, Hulk's like, you, what he's like, I'm like fire, burning fire. You're like smoldering fire. So again, it was a good combination.
Yeah.
So they work together, and they're ultimately trying to get to the Collector at this point in time.
Yeah, and then they split up. So Thor takes Rocket and Groot, and they go to, I don't remember the name of the place, but basically where his hammer was forged.
Yeah, it's a special forging star, I guess, whatnot. And then there's these dwarf giants or whatever who work to create the weaponry.
Dwarf giants. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But either way.
But going to get another weapon, basically, and then Rocket gave him another eyeball too. So.
Oh yeah, he gave him a nice eye, which it was cool because you see the color changes.
Yeah.
One eye was like blue and the other was brown or whatever.
So you kind of get back to old Thor, and he has both of his eyes. I kind of liked him with the eye patch though.
He did look kind of badass.
That was pretty cool.
You know, especially like his dad too,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So they get there. So they forget. Let's move on. So they get there. To the Collector, and they're trying to sneak up on him, and you know they're trying to create a plan to get up on it, and suddenly everything just starts changing, like in this huge like circumference, and like you can see the whole place has been battered to hell. And
Gamora actually gets up on Thanos and stabs him.
Oh, that's right.
And
she
like
stabs him, right?
And like thought she killed him, and they thought that she had killed him, and she had like tears in her eyes, very emotional.
Yeah, because it's her father. Well, her wannabe father, whatever.
And then that's when like everything changed, and he was like, I thought you were coming, and then you could tell he was obviously.
So he totally called it, and they all bunch like a bunch of jackasses right now, just kind of hanging out in the open, and then as there's some banter between Gamora and him, and this and that, and also some flashbacks that happen throughout the movie too about when Gamora was taken. And why he catered to her and not the rest of her race, but that really badass scene where he takes little Gamora and he's like showing her this little dagger object, and all of her people just get slaughtered in the background. He just kind of turns her face again, and so it really starts to show another side of Gamora that I don't know if I fully understood. I mean, when you say like they killed my whole race, like it sounds bad until you actually really see it, and then you're like, oh my god, that's brutal.
And then like treated her like his child, like, and had this loving relationship, or he had some affection toward her, which we found out it was pretty legit. Like he really did.
He did
care about her, and it's just it's kind of a weird little morbid relationship that he's like slaughtering and killing a whole race, but he takes.
So he gets the stone, and he pretty much just disappears. Oh, I know. Not to mention, now that he got that reality stone, he turns Drax and Mantis into like shredded
little Picasso
paintings or whatever, and they just drop. I thought they were done.
I thought they died too. So like, he just totally disfigures them, and they fall on the ground, and I'm like, oh my god, he just totally
just
killed
like that.
them.
But showing something interesting about Thanos is that he is not all about kill. He just has his mission. And like you were talking about earlier, this is kind of Thanos' story.
And I think that's a big part of the movie. It's almost like it's Thanos' story. It's his hero's quest. He's kind of the protagonist, if you want to look at it that way. And the whole thing is his planet died because of overpopulation, and they couldn't feed everyone. People starving, and just living a life that just nobody would want to live. It was horrible.
Probably like a third world country, only like times 10 probably.
And in his mind, he feels righteous. He feels justified, even though it's not the right thing to do, and it's pretty morbid what he's thinking. But it's genocide. He wants to kill half the universe, half the population, so that basically there's enough food and enough resources then to sustain life and make conditions livable, and everybody lives a good life then in his mind.
Which always brings back to that morality question, which has been done in a lot of movies and games and so forth. Is would you kill one to save a million? Yeah. If it was your child and you found out that extracting their whatever blood or the DNA in the sand could cure cancer, would you give up your child for it? Some would say, oh, absolutely, I could save all that. I would not. Yeah. That's me, though. I mean, to each other person, that's a morality thing, and it's not to say you're an evil person, but it's just how far you're willing to go, and extremes, right? So very cool
Thanos,
concept.
He gets these stones, and he gets the gauntlet filled, snaps his fingers, and half the world's dead, half the universe is dead, and it's random. So to him, I think it's kind of like it's it's kind of justice. It's mercy because it's all random. It's not like he's choosing who dies. It's just it is
painless. Technically,
it's painless. It's done.
We'll get to that in a second.
So that's the big tone of the movie.
So we have purple, we have blue, which we had power, space. He has now the reality stone,
the red stone,
and the red stone, and then now he's moving for the soul stone, which was hidden for the longest time. We had fan theories about this and that, who had it, and we end up finding, we'll just kind of skip through this a little faster, we find out that Gamora actually found it.
Yep.
She tries to lie to him. Unfortunately, Thanos has Nebula pretty much tied up in some saw device, kind of ripping her just parts, just totally apart.
That was an intense scene, too.
It was, and it was showing Gamora's true love for her sister, and that she wasn't willing to let her die even for the stone. But she tries to lie, and then once it's pushed to that final point, and Thanos finds out she is lying because there was a replay, I guess, on Nebula's backup whatever brain, and anyways, shows that basically she did find the stone, and so I guess she agrees to reveal the stone if he spares the sister's life.
Yes.
So
they go find the stone, and then a big kind of Easter egg reveal here that I wasn't expecting.
A Grim Reaper looking character.
Grim Reaper was there guarding the stone, and he takes off his shawl or cape, and it's Red Skull. The first Captain America, which
I admit I just
wasn't expecting that.
No,
I was like, that's pretty cool.
And he never's really been a big, even though he's in the first Captain America, he's kind of like a goofy villain to me or whatever. Yeah. But it looks like the Soul Stone. The whole point is you have to sacrifice someone you love in order to obtain the stone, and like that you would die for pretty much. And so I guess Red Skull, when he got there, it was kind of like, well, I don't love anybody or need anybody. So he got, I guess, got entrapped there pretty much.
He was enslaved to basically guarding the stone,
and he warns him kind of. He warns Thanos going up to it. He goes, what she's going to have to do, and Gamora thinks she's got her stepfather, if you will, right where he needs to be. Like, you don't love anybody, this and that.
Yeah.
And little did she know, he pretty much loved her with every bit of his being. The one thing in this world that he would care about. And she's just, you can see she's just like, oh, hell no. No.
Because she's like, she's thinking, it's done. You can't get the stone. Then she sees it in his face, and he basically just chucks her off the damn cliff. He just takes her and he goes, sorry. Well, it wasn't like, peace out. But I mean, he basically says sorry, drives her, and there's just he has to do it.
She drops hundreds of feet to her death. So.
And then he has a tear in his eye when he turns around.
He does, and then he wakes up kind of in the water or something like that, right? And then he has that stone in his hand, remember, or whatever. Yep. So
now he has the fourth stone.
And obviously this is going to draw some really major conflict with Quill later. Now that Gamora is gone. So we'll get to that. So we have orange now. We have 4 out of the, is it 6 stones total?
Yeah, 6 stones.
And so now we're going back to a mix between, I guess, Vision Stone, which was the yellow mind one, and then the green one, which is time.
Yep. So I think he comes back. The battle kind of refocuses on Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and then the Guardians. The rest of the Guardians meet up with them too. So you've got Quill and Drax and Mantis coming back trying to find Gamora.
Yep.
They meet up with Iron Man and Spider-Man. They kind of tussle around a little bit. And they realize they're on the same side.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we know each other. Again, gotta hand it to the writers, like putting in just little bits of humor, just enough to make you laugh, and then you're suddenly you're right back into the movie again, and that is a hard thing to do. And many movies, and I think DC found that they just can't do it. Their writers they can't work it out, so they just went full dark, right?
Yep.
Which it worked for Batman. It just Nolan's Batman. The other ones not so strong. So then, they fight, right?
Yeah, well, I guess just to speed it up a little bit too.
Yeah.
They get into a battle. They actually have a pretty good plan. They have Thanos pretty locked down. And then Mantis jumps.
Let's not do your plan. Let's not do anything. Your plan sucks. So Quill and another couple of egos going at it.
A couple of egos. But they basically have Thanos locked down. Mantis is on top of him, kind of like controlling his mind and can feel his feelings. Putting him to sleep. They were trying to pry the glove off of his hand.
Strange's got a thing on it. Spider-Man's lived in. Tony's going over.
They almost have it off of his hand, and then Quill finds out that he killed Gamora. Because Mantis could kind of sense it in his.
Yeah, she was sensing it, and she could see the pain. And then Thanos was just like muttering just a couple random words, and then Quill realized what he had done, and he friggin' knocks him, which throws Mantis all off, and he comes to. Things still, gauntlet still on hand, and he just starts wiping. Just knocking them all around like flies, pretty much. I mean, Iron Man, I think, fired literally every piece of arsenal he had in him. And in the end, it was like a punch. They kind of just gave him a little cut on his skin. And he's like, what do you say, like, all that for just a drop of blood?
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous.
Thanos dropped a damn moon on top of him. Dude, that was crazy.
And Tony goes, you drop one more moon on me. Good humor.
But I mean, basically, so then Thanos basically wipes the floor with them and then stabs Tony.
So everything's been built up, which, let's talk about this real quick. So Tony and his presence in this movie, it really felt like they were putting a lot on him, like, to lead, you know? Which, that's fine from the perspective if they were trying to build up that drama for that point when he does get stabbed, and you're like, oh my God, are they killing off Tony? But I think you were agreeing, Dustin, that we didn't get enough Captain.
Yep, that was my only complaint about the movie was not enough, like, really, like, substance, like, scenes with Captain. It was the big reveal, which was awesome, the fight scene.
It was.
Him and Vision, and they go to Wakanda, which we'll talk about that later.
But after that, it was
movie, but there was some fighting, and there's not a lot of, like,
there's the end, and
dialogue or substance with Cap, which...
And maybe they're hoping to bring that back in the next movie, maybe, because obviously him and Tony still have to reconcile.
Yeah, and they left that part open. Tony was going to call Cap,
but then they got interrupted.
So that was kind of a big plot.
I digress, but just want to say that, Tony, they definitely had a lot of focus on his character in general, which, I mean, if you love his character, then that's great. I don't. I think he's a total dick, but he's very useful, though, and he's needed, very needed.
So at this point, I'm thinking he may be dead. Like, I'm thinking this is going to be it for Tony, because he just got stabbed.
Right.
He's dying. Thanos is about to crush him or something. And then
who comes out randomly?
So before all this happened, though, we'll go back to Doctor Strange, who uses a time stone at one point before the big fight with Thanos. And you kind of see him over there kind of twitching around. I was like, what's going on?
Oh, yeah.
So he actually looked into the future and looked at all the possibilities, basically. He said there are 14 million something possibilities of like this conflict.
Yep, and only
Tony said, well, how many did we win? He said, one. Mm-hmm. So there's only one possible set of variables and criteria that could happen.
And win. Honestly, though, what does win mean? Yeah. Because... So part of me thinks, like, now win could mean, okay, the future movie, right? The Avengers 4, whatever, I mean, could be what happens there. Or was it really the outcome that they ended up in? Like, there was no other outcome. Thanos had to get all the stones and pretty much wipe, which, by the way, may lead to something else later on. But win, I just think is kind of a blinking word. We just don't fully understand what that means, right? But like you said, it could mean something in the future.
It could mean, I think it means probably something in the future, and it probably means Tony's involved. So why that's important is...
Because he saved him, right? Yeah.
When Tony's dying, Strange basically says, spare Tony and I'll give you the time stone, which we just talked about earlier on. He said he's not going to do that. He's going to guard the stone over Peter or Tony's lives. And he changed his mind. So Tony had something to do with that possibility of them winning, or he knew that Thanos needed that stone for whatever reason to win.
Probably a mixture of both, I imagine. Like you said, Tony. There's a point, and he is usually, like we're talking, like Banner and Tony are now the brains that are left. Well, and we'll talk about why that, but as we know what happens in the end. So he basically, he gets the stone, he gets the green stone, he pretty much lets it appear. In fact, it wasn't even. I think it was just an illusion that I think it was even inside the.
Yeah, he Strange kind of did something with his hands and it kind of appeared.
Disappeared. So nobody could have probably gotten to it anyways without him fully giving it up. So he gives it up. He has now 5 out of the 6 stones, and we fast forward. Let's just get straight into it to Wakanda. So you have a lot of the heroes together for one last battle. Yep. It was cool just kind of seeing the whole city coming together. It shows how noble the Black Panther and his family and even there's other clans who we got together, because it looks like friggin' Thanos has some kind of army of these wildebeest, 4-legged, teeth out of this world monsters or whatever, and there's a shitload of them, and they pretty much just start ramming themselves.
Storming the barrier.
But not only are they doing that, storming the barrier, but they're like sacrificing themselves, and they're causing like blips in the barrier, so they might actually get through. And so what do? They end up opening the damn gates. Well, a section of which I thought was kind of cool. Like, open this section,
So they did. And they did that because, Shuri, Black Panther's sister, was working on Vision, trying to get the stone out of his head, or trying to...
back him up in some way or another.
Or do something with the stone so that they didn't have to rip
back him up so they could destroy the stone. So that we can still keep Vision. He can go on loving Scarlet, but destroy that damn stone. So Scarlet's on standby, right? Trying to do her thing. But then, so while they're doing their thing... We then fast forward down to the battlefield where things are getting crazy, and so the heroes are getting their asses whipped pretty solid. And I think Scarlet leaves to go help momentarily because she goes down. Remember, she does like a couple wave blasts or something, just wipes tons of them
out. I think she picks up one of those big saw like spinning things too, and like totally wrecks some people with it too.
But also leaving Shuri, and I think she had like one guard up there pretty much, and of course they get attacked, and so you go ahead. You want to go from there?
Yeah. So then the fight's kind of progressing. Vision's in trouble, and then we go back to Thor. So Thor goes back to that other planet too, and he builds a new weapon. Basically, we'll kind of go through that part quickly. Thor works with
Peter Dinklage,
the giant dwarf.
That's all you need to know. Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage.
Forges a new. It's an axe this time, not a hammer, but it's a new weapon. I think it's called Stormbreaker. Is that what we call it? Mm-hmm. So it gets a Stormbreaker, and then in the middle of the battle, it's kind of turning. The tides are turning. The minions are kind of overtaking the heroes, and then like all of a sudden,
he appears.
Down comes Thor. And just starts decimating.
I mean, he's flying around. He's using between his little electrical abilities and stuff like that, and then just wiping
another
everybody.
Pretty badass entrance that I think most of the theater
we were excited.
Applauded pretty loudly whenever that happened.
Heck yeah, Thor's a likable character.
It was pretty awesome.
Like, he's got a huge ego, but it's control. Like, he does it for good because he knows how important he is to the universe, pretty much, right? So they're wiping, they're going crazy, and so we fast forward a little bit. So Thanos is he shows up.
Yep.
And I think that's the part when basically all the heroes were pretty much near him, and he just starts using each one of his stones in a different way to pretty much just push him aside, right?
Yep.
In fact, there's only a few that even make contact with him, and one was definitely Captain. And
which was in the trailer.
It was in the trailer, and as much as awesome that was in the trailer, I was kind of like hoping for a little bit more because, I mean, he had his shields, which honestly I kind of would have liked if he had his just regular shield where you could just throw them, but I know they're trying to change things. He's like got these kind of sharp things, I guess, on these two-handed shields or whatever, and he's just kind of punching at him, but they kind of go at it, and then it's just like, and you can just see, but it's just that intense moment, and then he just kind of tosses him off to the side, and he pretty much gets his hands on Vision, right?
Well, yeah, so Scarlet Witch actually shatters the stone before he
she pushes his ass off, right, because she's doing like the, so yeah, he almost gets Vision, she throws him off, and doing some crazy Scarlet Witch beam, right, and then on the other side, right, she starts actually trying to destroy, which I thought that was a pretty decent emotional scene.
Yeah. She shatters it. We're thinking like, oh damn, she did it. Like, she saved the day. No, he has a time stone. So all he has to do is reverse time a little bit and grab the stone. I
usually don't pick up on. I just enjoy the movie for the ride. But at some point, I'm just kind of like, oh no, like while she was destroying it, because they're trying to build all the emotion, everything going on, and then suddenly he just starts rewinding it all, and you're just like, oh, epic fail.
And then he just picks up Vision and just rips it out of him, and he turns like
gray.
Part
of his brain
just
too.
Lifeless and gray, and falls off to the side as he tosses him.
And so he puts the stone in place, and then Thor races up. He tried his best, right? And he launches that damn Stormbreaker, and it just and nails him right in the chest, and you're just like, oh, maybe they got him. And he goes down there, and was it Thor that actually went down to retrieve it, right?
Yeah.
And then
he came down and shoved the axe further into his chest, basically. And he's like, I don't remember the line he used, but something like,
you should have aimed for the head. Or should have went for the
Thor
head.
said something like, I told you I was going to kill you, or something like that. I mean, pretty awesome scene. He comes down, you think now Thor's going to save the day, and then Thanos says, yeah, you should have aimed for the head, and then snaps his fingers.
Done deal.
And then it shoots off to him and Gamora in a scene of little Gamora and Thanos again. And I don't know if it's...
I'm not sure where this is at.
I don't know what that is, if that's just a memory for him, or is it back in the Soul Stone?
Well, he's talking to her, so I'm maybe leaning against memory. I'm thinking like, he's talking to a younger version of her. So I'm thinking to myself, well then, are you in the stone, like you said, are you in the Soul Stone, or is it just in his mind, or is he like connected to her in one way because he did kill her and he has the stone and everything like that? Oh, and let's not forget also, right before that happened, the glove. The glove was majorly jacked up, and all the stones looked like they were still in place, and they didn't look damaged, but the glove was jacked.
The glove was totally jacked up.
Because remember, that's right, because they built that glove he made Peter Dinklage building that glove, and then he ended up slaughtering all his people, so it could harness all that power. So now that that's gone, where did the stones go? I mean, did they just fly off to oblivion, or does he still have them? Or?
Right.
There's a lot of questions around that.
Yeah, and the movie kind of closes with him in the sun setting, and he's kind of breathing a sigh of relief, and he's completed his quest.
And he did not have the glove on.
He did not have the glove on then. So yeah, the gauntlet we don't know where it is. We don't know where the stones are. I'm going to go out and say the gauntlet's probably not operable anymore.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
They did show the mold that they used, that Dinklage used to create it. So there's a way to build another one, and I think that may come into play in the next movie. They may have to rebuild one and use it again to reverse it or something.
Appellate thought that there's a chance that that scene when he's waking up and he's looking out into the distance, it was very foresty and this and that. He thought that maybe he was still on Earth, like right outside in Wakanda. Wakanda. I can't say it. Wakanda. Anyways, but he thought he was out there. I don't think that would be Thanos' resting place of choice.
I don't know where he would be.
He's probably off-world.
Probably off-world.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start to see the people drop.
Yeah.
Which was, again, really emotional too. So
yeah, they start disappearing.
I mean, I don't even know if I can name all of them. Jeez, pretty much the main Avengers are the ones who are left.
Yeah, I mean, one by one. I mean, in fact, there's a scene where Black Panther's going over to Michonne from Walking Dead, and I think she's gonna go. He goes, and then there's another one, and Spider-Man, he's in Tony's arms. That was
the most emotional one, I think, because he's like, I don't want to go, Tony.
Oh, he was so scared, and he's just a kid, and right, I mean, it's death, right? And it was weird, because like the nanosuit was almost like keeping him there for a minute, but it didn't stop anything. He went.
Quill's gone.
Almost everybody of the Guardians. Drax, Quill, Mantis, Rocket's left, Groot gone. Yeah, it was just ridiculous, the amount of people we lost, which really put things in perspective, right? Because we knew some major event was probably going to go down. We didn't think that they were going to get all the stones.
I mean, being a Disney movie, I didn't think they would get all the stones, first of all, because it was supposed to be Infinity War Part 1 and 2 initially. So, and maybe that's why they renamed it, because they ended up just saying, hey, we're going to do it all in one movie.
And maybe that is, because I know John was asking me, like, is Avengers 4 just now the Avengers and that's it? I mean, we're done. Because they pretty much could have just put at the end on that thing, except for that very end scene.
Yeah.
where maybe the movie should just get an extra 10 points just for having Samuel L. back. And, everybody starts disappearing, planes are coming out of the thing, and he tells somebody to make the call. And his assistant starts doing it, and does she disappear, which drops it, I think? And as he goes to pick it up, he starts to disappear too, but he's able to push the button, and you see a little symbol, which I didn't actually know who that was, but it was.
I didn't either. I just read some stuff, so I knew it was Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Which is Brie Larson.
Brie Larson.
Has a movie coming out.
Yeah, she's some kind of fighter pilot person or whatever, basically comes across, I think, another nation, somewhere saying like the Kree or something like that. Basically, they help give her some powers and this and that. So, either way, guys.
The Kree was Ronan, right? From Guardians of the Galaxy. So he was a Kree.
Yeah.
So it gives her like superpowers, and so she's definitely going to be a big part of the next movie. I wonder where Ant-Man was. I think that's a big question.
Ant-Man and Wasp
Maybe
are
we'll
doing
see
something.
in Ant-Man and the Wasp if they.
Hawkeye,
yeah.
He was. Someone said that he was off doing his thing, but clearly for some kind of mission. But we don't really see a whole lot. Yeah. We also talked about how Valkyrie from Ragnarok, and even that stone funny guy that was in the Colosseum when Hulk and all them were fighting. I guess where they were all killed. Maybe,
Valkyrie was a big. I think I realized that after I left the movie, I just kind of thought like, man.
Yeah, I missed it.
At the end of Ragnarok, Valkyrie was right there on the ship with everyone else, and then
I feel she's
gone.
Kind of too important of a secondary character just to kind of be like, we're not going to talk. Too. So. We're talking either scheduling problems, probably with the film. It couldn't be in it, and just hope nobody would notice, which we didn't. And who knows? But hey, overall, guys, this was a great movie. What did you give it, Dustin? I know I gave it a 9.5 in my review. I didn't give it a 10 just because a 10 is just like the ultimate perfect movie.
I agree.
I don't even know if I have a 10 even in my movies, but it's damn close.
I agree. It's a high 9 for me for sure.
9. Yeah.
They're with so many characters, the way that they built relationships and scene by scene and like shoved all these characters into this movie but made it work and never felt like, to me it didn't feel like it was just going through the motions of making sure we get all these characters in.
That's true.
They had impactful storylines.
They went on missions, decent missions, and I'm sorry, I had to keep bringing it back. Not like going off to a planet and spending 45 minutes there and literally having to do nothing for the entire movie. I mean, there's really no point. Have some point. I know one of my buddies says, he goes, Mike, it's about failure. What Yoda's talking. I'm like,
there was failure in this movie, and they did it well.
And they did it very well. Yeah. Yoda talking to Luke about failure, that's all I needed to hear. Yeah. And then Luke's like, I get it. Thanks, Yoda, for putting me in my place again. I don't need to see friggin' Rose and...
Yeah, so obviously these people failed, right?
Yes, they did.
Quill punching Thanos whenever they almost had the gauntlet off. Like,
he was emotional.
There was a failure here, but it was it was done so much better for me. It just worked so well.
It was. They have a great writing team and producers.
Nope,
and
I'm a high 9.5, somewhere around there. Absolutely.
So if you have not gone to see this movie, you might be thinking, hey, I don't want to keep feeding the corporate Disney monster. Well, I can kind of agree with that because they are kind of getting ridiculously strong when it comes to movies in general. But this movie deserves credit for all the people, that huge list of VFX artists and everybody else.
Oh, man.
I mean, we had to wait almost 7-8 minutes just to see the
my wife
final
wasn't
scene.
Happy.
Yeah, I know, we were all kind of like. I mean, no doubt. I mean, if your name was up there, you'd want to see it too.
Right.
But it's like, all right, let's move on with it. But yeah, what a great job on this movie. Could be maybe the best in the franchise. We're gonna actually talk that in one of our videos coming up really soon. We're gonna look at the top 5 between Dustin and I. Hey everyone, we're sorry about those technical difficulties, but I'm sure you love that elevator music. I just want to say we're so glad that you came out and saw our Infinity War review. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying our channel. We are going to have a lot more content coming to you as we move in through to the summer. We also have our Dead Nightmare Zombie series. We have a new episode that's going to be coming out early summer. We had to push it back just slightly due to some reshoots we had to do, but all the same, the footage is looking really good, and we're really excited to get it out to you all. So, once again, I'm Mike Schilling, your host, and Dustin will be joining in next time, and we'll see you at the next review. See ya.